Hello and welcome to Cricket Happenings, dear friends and subscribers. And on this Cricket Happening show, there's a lot of cricket to be covered, I would say, because one is the Nidahas Trophy T20 Tri-Series in Sri Lanka, which kicked off today with host Sri Lanka taking on India at the Premadasa Stadium in Colombo, where the India's bench strength, which was being tested with a lot of big names being left out, really proved a bit too much for India as Sri Lanka started off the Nidahas Trophy. The host started off um, the Nidahas Trophy with a victory over India, and Sri Lanka were the ones who actually won the match by 5 wickets. As I said, they had some raw power in their ranks. Tisra Pereira really gave the finishing touches to the innings. So that is one match which I'll be talking about. And as far as the ICC World Cup qualifiers were concerned, well, there was a really a real scare, I would say, for Ireland by Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea were really struggling, and it was Tony Ura who played that wonderful knock to get to a very good score. And Tony Ura made 151. He's the best player of the Papua New Guinea team, and he really gave them headaches. But Ireland managed to just scrape through by 2 runs. So that is one match. And Afghanistan continued their bad showing in the World Cup qualifiers. They have only 2 more matches against Hong Kong and Nepal. They are both must-win games for them, because once again, and this was a close match between Zimbabwe and Afghanistan, where 3 runs were required of the last 2 balls. And I think it was 4 runs, but whatever it is, it was Afghanistan were outplayed by Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe won the match, which I'll be talking about. And Scotland also was made to stretch out, even though Hong Kong made a score which was a low score of 91. Scotland were really stretched to the limit before they won the match, which I'll be talking about in a brief manner. And also, I'll give you a live cricket update on the match between England and New Zealand. Today is we are seeing the 4th one-day international which is being played between England and New Zealand at Dunedin. And in fact, New Zealand won the toss and elected to field, and they were absolutely commanding. They were in such command that the score at one point read 267 for 1 in the 38th over, and they were absolutely looking good for 400 runs on a very good batting pitch. But look at that collapse after Jonathan Bairstow made his 2nd ODI century, 138, and Joe Root managed to century. Look at that collapse from 267 for 1 in the 38th over, and England were looking very good for 400 runs with lots of hitters still to come. It was purely bad batting by England, and the England were kept to 335 for 9 of their 50 overs. So for 67 runs, 8 wickets, 8 English wickets fell, and New Zealand kept them on really on a tight leash by picking up wickets. So it was a wonderful job. I thought New Zealand came back, and I think England's this innings of 335, I'm sure they are short of some runs, even though the Jonathan Bairstow, the English captain, has said in the interview that that 335 was enough. But on this particular ground at Dunedin, I think 335 would probably be not enough. And New Zealand, if they can play, if they bat well, I think England's this particular innings or particular innings will be under threat for England. And as you know, right now England are the ones who are leading the ODI series 2-1. So they have an opportunity here to take the series today, or New Zealand can actually go and level the series. So it will be very interesting. So right now it's break time there at Dunedin, where it's an innings break, and I'll come back to that. I'll also have a look at that. But as I said, since we have a lot of things to cover, I might have to do a brief summary. So let's start off with the Nidahas Trophy T20 Tri-Series, which was played in Colombo. Today was the first match of the Nidahas Trophy T20 series. India batted first, and India, as I said, definitely testing their bench strength with the batting and the bowling. and India in the 20 overs still managed a good run rate, I thought, of 8.7 to post 174 for 5 on the board. Rohit Sharma, the captain, went for a duck to the bowling of Chamira, but Shikhar Dhawan was continuing that very pink form of his, which he has been doing in South Africa, and he was the highest scorer with 90 of just 49 deliveries, 6 fours and 6 sixes contained in that knock. Suresh Raina failed with the bat, bowled by Fernando for 1. Pandey contributing 37 of 35, 3 fours, 1 6. Rishabh Pant making 23 of as many balls, 1 4 and 1 6. Dinesh Karthik not out on 13 of 6 balls, 2 fours. And India raised the score of 174 for 5. Chamira had 2 for 33 of his 4. Fernando 3 overs, 1 for 38. Dhananjaya 4 overs, none for 37. Pereira done for 25. Mendes 3 overs, 1 for 21. Gunatilaka 3 overs, 1 for 16. Now Sri Lanka were given a target of 175 to win from their 20 overs. Yes, the beginning was not good. They definitely lost their openers pretty quickly. They lost Gunatilaka for 19 of 12 deliveries, 1 4 and 2 sixes. And Kushal Pereira was actually the man of the match, but Kushal Mendes and the other, and V. Shankar for India was making his T20 debut today. And V. Shankar did not get a chance to bat, even though he has the all-rounder status. And Sri Lanka, Gunatilaka 19, Mendes was out to the bowling of the right-arm off-spinner Washington Sundar for 11 of 6 balls, 2 fours. But it was Kushal Pereira who really was kiting the Indian bowling attack, especially he went after the bowling of Shardul Thakur, whose his bowling analysis was really damaged beyond recognition by Kushal Pereira, who hit 6 fours of Shardul Thakur. So if you look at Kushal Pereira's knock, he had 6 boundaries, and all the 6 boundaries was hit by Kushal Pereira in one single over, where he smashed 27 runs of Shardul Thakur. So Shardul Thakur's line was a bit odd. Kushal Pereira totally capitalized on that. So, but what a knock from Kushal Pereira. Even though the openers were gone, he came in at 1 drop and smashed 66 of just 37 deliveries, 6 fours and 4 sixes before Washington Sundar got rid of him. Chandimal was bowled by Chahal for 14 of 11 deliveries, 1 4. Taranga was bowled by Chahal. Now that was the time the score at 136 for 5 for Sri Lanka in the 15th over. So they still needed, and finally the equation came down to 35 runs in 3 overs. But Tisra Pereira, as I said, is in some great form, as we all know. He made sure that Sri Lanka wouldn't lose this opportunity, and it was always there on the cards as far as Tisra Pereira was there, and that's what he really showed by making an unbeaten 22 of just 10 deliveries, 2 fours, 1 6. Other and another all-rounder, Dasan Shanaka, made 15 of unbeaten runs for 18 deliveries, 1 4. And it was Shanaka and Pereira taking the Sri Lankans home by 5 wickets. Javed Unadkat 1 for 35. Washington Sundar was impressive, 4 overs to 28. But Shardul Thakur, as I said, was smashed absolutely. And it was one man, Kushal Pereira, who damaged the Shardul Thakur's figures. Yuzendra Chahal 2 for 37. V. Shankar 2 overs for 15 on his debut. And Raina bowled 2 overs for 14. Kushal Pereira, for his smashing knock of 66 deliveries of 66 runs, took away the man of the match award. So India's bench strength really tested in this particular series after the big names have been left out due to just giving them some rest before the big fish series comes between against Australia and England. Well, now we are going to have a look at the World Cup qualifiers. So I'm starting off with the first game, and that game we are talking about the 7th match in Group B in the ICC Cricket World Cup qualifiers, and this particular match was being played at Bulawayo between host Zimbabwe and Afghanistan. And Afghanistan were vanquished by Zimbabwe, but again it was a close game. If you look at the card, let's have a look at the Zimbabwe card. The Zimbabwean card, Zimbabwe they made 196 all out. So that was a good job done by Afghanistan to bowl the Zimbabweans out for 196. Let's have a look at the card. Solomon Mar was out for 4. Sibzawa was out for naught. Masakadza made 3. But Brendan Taylor was the principal scorer with 89 of 88 deliveries, 7 fours and 3 wickets, 3 sixes. And the other consistent player was Sikandar Raza, 60 of 68 balls, 6 fours and 1 6. Irvine made 13. And other than that, Creamer was not out of 19 of 29. Waller 3, Chatara not, Vittori not, Masrabani not. 196 all out. It was the spin of Mujibur Rahman. Rashid Khan actually had better bowling analysis today. 8 overs, no made in 38 runs and 3 wickets. Mujibur Rahman 9 overs, 1 made in 49 runs and 3 wickets. But Dawlad Zadran was simply excellent. 7 overs, 2 minutes, 2 for 17. I'm not going to go into the other 7 overs for 25 for the Shapur Zadran, the left-arm pace bowler. And Afghanistan were given a target of 197. In fact, it was only Rahmat Shah who played a good innings of 69 of 91 deliveries. But the problem was that he got some support from Mohammad Nabi to take Afghanistan closer towards the target when he made 51, Mohammad Nabi of 56 balls. But other than that, it came as a real surprise as the other batsmen, Nasir Jamal, Najbullah Zadran, Sharaf, nobody could really contribute, and it ended up with finally left to the Zadran, the Zadran players, Shapur Zadran and Dawlad Zadran, to see what they could do. But unfortunately, with 3 runs required of 4 balls, it was all over for Afghanistan when Shapur Zadran's wicket was taken by Brian Vittori, and the Afghanistan losing their second consecutive match in the ICC Cricket World Cup qualifiers. They were bowled out for 194. I thought Zimbabwe definitely deserved credit. After putting up a modest score of 196, they managed to bowl the Afghanistan's out for 194. And Afghanistan have a lot of soul searching to do, according to me, because they were one of the favorites for this to qualify for the World Cup, and now they are under real trouble, and the next 2 matches which are coming up against Nepal and Hong Kong should be must-win affairs for them. Chatara 1 for 35. Brian Vittori, what good bowling from Brian Vittori. Brian Vittori coming into the Zimbabwean team has really perked up. 9.3 overs, no made in 2 for 31 for Brian Vittori. Musrabani took some vital wickets, 10 overs, 1 made in 47 runs and 4 wickets. 3 wickets to Sikandar Raza. And Sikandar Raza, once again for his all-round performance, taking the Man of the Match award. Sikandar Raza has been doing an exemplary job, according to me. And I think he has become the most consistent player in the Zimbabwean team, on which Zimbabwe can always rely on. Now let's have a look at the next match, the 5th match, the Group A ICC Cricket World Cup qualifiers. This game was, as I said, this was the game which was another exciting match, and it was Papua New Guinea taking on Ireland. The Papua New Guinea, as you know, Tony Ura, the opener from Papua New Guinea, is a sort of the best player in the Papua New Guinea team. And if you look at the innings, I mean, they were in all sorts of trouble at one stage. They had lost 7 wickets to my reckoning, 116 for 7 at the 33rd over. Who would have thought that this Papua New Guinea team would go and make 235 runs all out in their 50 overs? But everything, the total credit goes to one man, and he who just failed to carry the bat in the entire innings and truly deserved it. And I'm told that Tony Ura is the best player in the Papua New Guinea team, and why not? He really showed us why. And look at that knock. I mean, he has not wasted any time. It was not a sort of sitting there and plodding, and he just continued to play his strokes. What an innings from Tony Ura. Take a bow. 151 runs of 142 deliveries, 10 fours and 6 sixes in that particular wonderful knock from Tony Ura. I mean, he played all the good bowlers like Murtag, Rankin. Rankin had 2 for 41, Murtag none for 32, McBride, the off spinner 3 for 38, none for 50, Drawkrill, 2 for 50, Kevin O'Brien. So Ireland were given a target of 236, and definitely one would have thought that Ireland but one never thought that Ireland would be stretched to such an extent after William Porterfield at the top of the order went on to Nelson, 111 of 133 balls with 12 fours, 27 from Sterling of 21 deliveries, 4 fours. Balbini failed with the bat with 7, but Ed Joyce made a compact 53 with 4 fours. But then it was the Wanua, the Wala and Dai bowlers who really started putting doubts in the Ireland's batting. But Ireland finally managed to scrape through and finally won the match. So it was a very close match, even though they won by 4 wickets. So well done. I thought Papua New Guinea definitely deserves credit for a very, very good showing with Tony Ura leading from the front. And Tony Ura was very rightly, according to me, named man of the match. What an innings from Tony Ura. Absolutely a gem of an innings from him. So that is as far as that particular match is concerned. Now the next match we are talking about is West Indies, who have been struggling in the warm-up games, and it was a big sort of a question mark as to what they were going to do. But let me tell you, West Indies hit the United Arab Emirates very hard. But I have to say, this United Arab Emirates team definitely showed a great determination to put up a real fist of a fight against the West Indies. West Indies making 357 for 4 batting first, and the United Arab Emirates matching it by making 297 for 6, and I think it was a commendable effort from United Arab Emirates. They could be absolutely proud about it, and one knows that the United Arab Emirates batting is something which is very, very strong according to me. So let's have a look at the West Indies innings. So West Indies made 357 for 4. It contained Chris Gayle, 123 of 91 deliveries, 7 fours and 11 sixes clattered all over the ground there. Solomon Hetmyer getting his century as well, 127 of 93 deliveries, 14 fours and 4 sixes, 31 even Lewis. Hope made retired hurt for 35, and West Indies made 357. In fact, the bowling figures were really making very unhappy reading, as they were absolutely smashed to pulp. Mohammad Naveed 9 overs 53, Amir Hayat 10 overs for 80 runs, Rohan Mustafa 66 of 10, 62 of 10 for the leggy Imran Haider. Raza went for 67 of 9, and it was really unhappy reading as far as the bowling card is concerned. United Arab Emirates given a target of 358. Rami Shahzad stood out like a beacon there. He was still there, but he could not take his team to victory. But what a knock from Rami Shahzad. Not out on 112 of 107 deliveries. It contained 9 fours and 4 sixes. Shaiman Anwar, who is another reliable player in the United Arab Emirates team, the all-rounder, made 64 of 62 deliveries, 5 fours and 3 sixes. 38 coming from Chirag Suri, another talented bloke from United Arab Emirates. Mustafa was out for 8, Shabbar 6, and I have to say, and Adnan Mufti making 45 in the lower order. But 297 for 6, challenging the 357. As I said, United Arab Emirates should be very proud of the fact that they have challenged the mighty West Indies here. And 5 wickets for 53 for Jason Holder. And the man of the match was Shimron Hetmyer. Now, the other match was between Hong Kong and Scotland, where I think Hong Kong made only 91, but Scotland were made to sweat to get to that 91 runs. And that is another good showing, I thought, from Hong Kong against Scotland, even though Scotland won. As far as now, just giving you a live cricket update, as I said, this is the innings break time here in the 4th One Day International in Dunedin between England and New Zealand. And England, if you look at the card, they were sailing so smoothly that it was looking like a 400 score was absolutely on the cards when Jonathan Bairstow and Joe Root were there in the middle. Jonathan Bairstow making 138 of 14 fours, 7 sixes, 102 from Joe Root of 101, 6 fours, 2 sixes. But what happened later was simply a very dismal showing. From 267 for 2 on a very good batting pitch, England could not capitalize. From 38th over, everything looked on the cards for them to go past the 400 mark. And look at the amount of hitters that England had, and look at what happened. Butler was bowled by out for Duck, Morgan for 5, Ben Stokes for 1, Moeen Ali 3, Wokes 3, Rashid 11, Curran was not out on 22, hit 4 fours in the final over of Saudi, and finally they made 335 for 9. And looking at the bowling figures here, and I think England would be ruining the fact on a good batting pitch. They have definitely a lot of runs short, according to me. But Jonathan Bairstow, he felt otherwise in the interview. Saudi 10 overs smashed for 87, 1 wicket. Bowled 10 overs to 56. Granholm 2 overs for 23. Mitchell Santner 10 overs cost him 57. He saw the 4 for 58 was the best bowler on there, and 2 for 53 for Colin Munro. Well, dear fans and subscribers, I think we are in for a wonderful match which is coming up after the innings break here in Dunedin, where New Zealand will be chasing 336 to win the match and also keep themselves alive in the series and take it to the grand finale in the final ODI. Well, dear fans and subscribers, it's been a pleasure talking to you on this daily cricket show. It's about time for me to bid you all a very good night.